guys, Matthew from Your Fidelity here. Today we're going to review the RAD-0 by Rosson Audio Design. This is a 66mm open back planar magnetic headphone coming in at $2,600. The backstory on this one is quite interesting. Rosson Audio Design is a company founded by Alexander Rosson, who you may as well know as the former CEO and co-founder of Odyssey. If you want to learn more about the philosophy behind this headphone and behind Rosson Audio Design in general, then check out the written review. Pavel has managed to get a little interview with Alex, so check that out. So this is quite a unique product because I believe this is the only custom-made headphone, like full over-ear headphone on the market right now. At least I haven't heard of anything else like that. And the design options are countless basically, and $2,600 is a variable cost because it's also going to depend on which design options you choose. The unboxing experience of it is also quite interesting because we get this large Pelican style travel case. It's made of plastic, but like a very, very sturdy plastic. It's quite big and you don't have to worry about, something happening to your headphones when you travel. It's actually so big that you could probably knock somebody out with it, which, I don't know, may be useful to you. It's also one of the rare instances where the packaging is not just for looks, but it's also useful. That's always welcome in my book. In terms of comfort, those are quite heavy and have quite a bit of clamp force. However, to me, this is mitigated by how thick those pads are. They're very thick, very soft, and to me personally, weight is not an issue and the clamp force was easy to get used to. However, your mileage may vary and you might have to try this out for yourself. However, one thing I have to note is that those extensions right here, my head is quite big, it's not the biggest head ever, but I had to extend them to the maximum. So if you have like a really, really big head, then you should take this into account. Let's cover the bass now. The bass is tactile, it's dense, it's tangible, and it's got a little bit of a kick to it. It's not like the Mike Tyson punch when it comes to bass response. However, it's lively and it's natural. It's not overdone in terms of like resolution, in terms of sharpness. I think throughout the whole review I'm gonna mention how they're kind of aiming at a natural presentation, and that's exactly what they have done here with the bass as well. This is a double-edged sword because to some it's gonna sound a little bit boomy, a little bit uncontrolled, untamed. Other people may enjoy the natural aspect of the presentation. As an example, I'd like to talk about Lost Prayer by Zakk Wylde. The bass guitar in this sounded very realistic and basically all the lower notes there were reproduced beautifully. But if you listen to music that requires the sharpest punch out there, then those may not squeeze the 100% out of that. Now onto the mid-range. Mid-range is something that I really like on this headphone. I like to compare it to the HD650 but like on steroids, basically better in every aspect. It's lush, it's warm, it's very pleasant, it's all a lively, neutral and engaging presentation. There's tangibility and there's tactility. Also, the detail here is not sacrificed at all. The sharpness is not overdone. There's basically no over sharpening of the sound right there. One track, a little bit lesser known, that I found to really shine with those is The Sky Lay Still by Elizabeth Anka Vajagic. I really hope I'm pronouncing this name properly. So the way this song is mixed, mastered, is that Elizabeth's vocals are really close to you. It's like she's sitting on a bus seat right next to you. And that's when the warmth, this lusciousness of the mid-range really comes into play because those vocals are reproduced beautifully and there is no artificiality to the sound. It sounds very natural, as it probably should with 99% of recordings. Now the treble. The treble fits the rest of the frequency response quite well. Cut hair, sorry. It fits the rest of the frequency response quite well. It's not recessed by any means. However, it is not the star of the show per se. It's well extended on one hand, but on the other it might lack a little bit of sparkle for some. To me personally, I'd like to see a little bit more of that liveliness, that shine in the treble. I guess it's a mixed bag. Some people are gonna love it, some people are gonna need something else. However, this is a very inoffensive headphone when it comes to treble. And I think that's pretty good if you want to cater to a larger audience. And the story here is quite the same as it was with the mid-range and the bass. We're not sacrificing detail. It overall falls into that kind of laid back, lush category, and it ties in with the performance in the mid-range and the bass pretty well. Now let's talk about the technical performance. There are some things that this headphone does well and some things that this headphone could do quite a bit better, and the latter to me is soundstage. The soundstage could be a bit larger. It's not the biggest, definitely. I'm not a really big fan of it because I always like to go for this large, airy kind of soundstage, and that's just not what we're getting here. I think it ties in well with the naturality of the tonal balance of this headphone. However, this goes for more of a natural, intimate presentation. The imaging is done very well. It's very accurate. However, it's not like a single point in the soundstage. The sound sources doesn't seem small by any means. It ties well with the way the soundstage is presented in these cans. This mix of soundstage and imaging is gonna sound perfect in some recordings and in some not so much. And I'm gonna mention it later in the video as well. A very strong point of these headphones is the way they've done dynamics in the mid-range and in the lower registries. Everything is tactile, everything seems alive, engaging, and that's really a strong point of these headphones. Everything is well extended as well on both ends of the frequency response spectrum. The only thing in terms of dynamics that I would prefer would be this sparkle in the treble that I've mentioned before. So let's talk about sound overall. Let me start with the pairings for this headphone. Personally, I think this headphone should be paired with warm, more lush sounding sources, because if you give it something that's analytical, a bit colder, neutral, then you might be deteriorating the positive qualities of this headphone. If it was up to me, I would capitalize on this headphone's strengths by picking something warmer, less analytical, and then I think you're gonna have a wonderful laid-back sound presentation, which to me is probably the perfect way to describe this headphone. Basically, long listening session with this were an absolute pleasure. Many times I kind of lost track of time when I took a listen to those. At first I was quite a bit skeptical because, as you may already know, I'm a fan of big airy soundstage, lots of clarity, and we don't really get that in this headphone. However, I think these cans really have their time and a place. And I'm saying this because the engagement factor on these it's through the roof. It is clear to me that this headphone doesn't aim at the same targets that you may see in all the other top-of-the-line headphones. In the market, at this price point, what you have is who's gonna present the better neutral sound signature, who's gonna push more detail, who's gonna make a bigger, airier soundstage. And this is like a complete 180 from this market tendency. I think this headphone pushes how a planar magnetic transducer can sound. Most people, when they think of planar magnetic sound, they think of this analytical sound that's focused mostly on technicalities and not necessarily on the sheer enjoyment. And I was kind of guilty of this mistake myself. This headphone solidifies that planar magnetic transducers don't have to sound that way, and when they don't, they can really shine. So, a quick roundup. Its strengths: naturality, intimacy, engagement. The cons of this headphone are probably its technical prowess. It's not bad, of course, but personally I think the soundstage could be bigger and everything could be a little bit cleared up with more air in between the instruments. So, to sum things up, I was quite shocked at how this headphone performs, because that's basically not what I expected. If you're looking for a warm, fun, but also kind of laid back, easy sound signature, then these are definitely headphones for you. However, as always, I encourage you to, of course, try them first, because, you don't want to end up disappointed, right? That being said, I consider these 100% worth a try. If this hits your specific target, your specific needs, then you're really gonna be happy with those. So I think that's gonna do it. I hope you found this video informative. Of course, as always, I encourage you to read the written review down in the description as well. And see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.